Hello everyone, Max Danger here. Not your typical intro, but as of this recording, I am given a few minutes before heading to the screen and getting into this film. I'm actually looking forward to it. A bit worried because all the reviews are saying otherwise, because there is a majority of the people that say the film drags, and then there's another majority that don't like the film. But I'll give you my thoughts when I get in. Hello everyone, your one and only Max Danger here. Today is a video, aka the review for Iron Man. To start off, this is going to be one of those reviews where I am going to be honest and a bit more talkative in these videos, because I know most of the reviews are very short and sweet. There will be some I'll still do if it's like a certain specific film, then obviously I'm gonna do depending on the length of them, and then a few other future ones coming up. One on a wrestling game coming up in like 2 weeks, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, for Markiplier's Iron Man, it's actually one of those films where it's actually really good. And in the sense of really good, it's really great. So let's start off with the first half. I'll get into the good stuff and then I'll go into the bad at the end. So yeah. For the positives of the film, I will say the film does really well with its atmosphere in the submarine, getting immersed, being like a really good, faithful adaptation of the game. And with myself that has never played the game, and I've seen gameplay of it, and I know a little bit about the story and everything. And again, I'm not going to go into too much in a spoiler, so I'll let you see it for yourselves and see what you think about it in the comments, or anyone who does their own reviews on YouTube or on other socials. And the atmosphere and the music is actually really well done. Like, it's in the sense where you feel this tension when you watch the film. Not just you feel like it's a very tense film, it is tense throughout. And I think there's like that type of element where, because the entire film is in one thing, and that's obviously most of it is in the submarine for most of the time. And the score is just brilliant, and props to anyone who's done the music for the film, because they've done a phenomenal job with that, because it makes you feel you're in the film, and it makes it more very, very like on the edge of your seat, because the timing and everything is just great with the music, with how it's presented and everything. And the atmosphere overall, you feel for the inmate, you feel everything for it. And then we'll get into the other one, which is characters. Like, again, it's mostly voiceovers, apart from obviously the main character, aka Markiplier. Again, I'm not going into spoilers, but Markiplier's character is actually, like, honestly, for the very first proper, like, independent film to release everywhere, including here in the UK, like, it's a really good character development throughout the entire thing, because you feel bad, and then you learn more about in the midway of the film, and then you have a whole different perspective with the story, because the story is what's going to hit hard. With the story, however, the story is actually very telling, and it stays faithful to the game. The only thing is that they go very early on with one thing in it, which they went a bit quick with, but I'm not going into spoiler for that, because obviously I'll let you be the judge for the film itself when you see it. But with the story, however, it's done very well, and the way he's adapted, and a few other whoever's worked with him has done a really great job. And a really great job in terms of storytelling, and in a way, in one location. Like, again, it depend. Obviously, they only had like a certain amount of budget with the film, and in this moment of time, it's 22 million in the box office. It was at number one over the weekend, and then it's just been removed for some weird reason. And I think that is, a clear sign that Hollywood just doesn't like YouTubers or small independent companies going that high in the box office or anything, because it is a bit odd, in my opinion, with it. Because why be number one? Like, right now, I checked, and as of this video, or whatever time frame of this recording, it is number 6 at 22 million at this moment in time. And yeah, so that's where Iron Lung stands in the box office in this moment of time. And getting into like a few other things I think the film does well, and that is just like the way everything is done, like the thing itself, the submarine thing, like that does really well with the game. And like, because in the game it's so easy and simple, and then like you watch the film, it's very dense, like. And I think that's another thing I'm gonna keep saying a lot, is the film is very tense. And the way I mean by tense is it keeps you on the edge of your seat. It keeps you going. It goes that extra mile. It makes you feel more for the character. It makes you feel the stakes. And it does go up and up and up and up. The only thing, I will get into the negative coming up here, runtime. Like, I think the runtime's decent, but other than that, great. And one last thing before I get into the negatives, and I think this has to be addressed a little bit with some reviewers coming out with this, is like the 2-hour drag in the first 15 minutes people have been talking about. And I kind of get points, and I kind of understand what everyone's coming off. And I get people have certain opinions about this, but the pacing I thought was great. And I think, in a way, I think the film does well in parts. There is a few things I can agree, but there is one thing I disagree, and that is the 2 hour, because I think the 2 hour, like, you have the first half establishing one thing, and then you have the other half where it focuses on like another story beat. Like, there's different story beats going on with the second half of the film, and I can understand that might throw off a few people, and probably why there's like certain people out there that think the film is too much filler, too much this and that. And that's because Iron Lung, the game itself, is an old game. I mean, like, it came out like 4, 5 years ago, something like that, or 3 maybe. And people need to remember, like, it's not like, it was well known around the time when YouTubers were playing it, but it wasn't well known to a casual audience member or casual person or casual viewer. It was known for, obviously, gamers, and obviously everyone knowing Iron Lung through YouTubers, mostly Markiplier, who heavily worked on this. No, I'm not discrediting them at this point. I'm just saying in terms of like the people who have been watching YouTube for a long time, and the difference being fans to the casual people will not get that. A lot of people who are fans and know the lore and everything understand that. And I think what makes this film a bit different to how people are perceiving it is because majority of what people don't like it is probably the casual viewer, because the casual viewer has no clue what Iron Lung is. Casual viewers don't know who Markiplier is, but again, that might end up becoming a boost for them to add more subscribers and stuff. And I'm not like saying it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing he's getting this attention. I think it's a good thing. I think it's just the way people have seen this kind of way is a bit ridiculous. And I think the film, itself is great in most parts. And before I get into the flaws, this is just what I've been feeling, because before I went into the 7:30 film yesterday, as of this recording, yesterday night, a lot of people came out being very disappointed, and that was just massively majority young people. And I'm not saying in a bad light, I'm just saying in terms of feedback, in terms of what people have been saying. And there has been people that have came out the other night going out of the film going, that was weird, that was something, that was disappointing. And that's just because some of them might be a casual viewer. Some, and probably another majority, might be fans of Markiplier, but have no clue about the Iron Lung game. And if people know about the Iron Lung game, then you're going to love it, because there's no doubt about that. It's just the way people out there making reviews are making certain points which are the pacing's too long, is because the game's it's a simple premise and the whole story is what it is. And I think that's probably just why people are just so not as interested, and probably why there's certain views out there right now with it. And now on to the negatives. The negative, the one thing I will say is probably the runtime is tense, and I said the 2-hour thing is a thing, because it's 2 hours and 7 minutes, and I was in there from 8 all the way until 10, and obviously because I want to stay back and just look at all the people who worked on it, including Markiplier himself, because it's always interesting to look at who's worked on the film. It's always interesting to see that, because you haven't time to look at who's worked on it and everything. And obviously I think a majority of people were expecting post-credit scene. I think because there's a stupid thing going on where people have been claiming, I think this is fake, I think people have just gone to the cinema and put on YouTube to do this, is people have been claiming that Markiplier's videos are in the cinema, and I count that ridiculous. There's no way. I mean, for myself, I know none of that happened, and so I can debunk that and say it is not a thing. People without a doubt have probably done a private screening and just went on YouTube on the massive cinema screen and just played a Markiplier video, and that is what I'm just saying about that. And it's just stupid. I think people are just trying to probably get attention for the wrong reasons, and say hey, this is not the Iron Lung, this and that, when clearly people are just trying to be relevant, and that's what people are trying to do. And it is a bit ridiculous. And then onto another thing with Iron Lung, and I think the blood effects are great. I think in terms of a story perspective, obviously it's understandable. I think it was just cleverly done. I think the only negative I would say was it was a little bit underwhelming. It wasn't again, it's supposed to be the last act of the film, and it's meant to be is he going to survive or not? And there is a moment, I'm not going to go into detail about it because I don't, in terms of spoilers here, but there is a moment in the film where there could have been more. There could have been a bit more graphic. And I think because with the budget they had, obviously they probably couldn't do much with it, and they do as much as they can. And probably it's just like utilize a bit more of the horror aspect as well, because like, yeah, I get it's one location, but again, it's one of those things where it is a bit of a hard burn to watch, but for the 2 hours you have, you've got a really good story, you've got a good characters, and the overall film itself is great. I think the way people have just been seeing it and viewing it is just a bit of a way of different matter of opinions. Now, I know I might get like a bit of controversial comments by my views, and that's fine because I don't care. Because I've been through the rabbit hole of having bad comments and having certain views on things, but again, I'm not that big, so you never know. But again, I don't care. Yeah, so that's that. And overall, like, I will say the film overall is like one of those films where it's got a really good story, as I mentioned. I know I've said this multiple times, but like the way it's done is just like great. I think I'm looking forward to more of what he does. Like, I think he's already confirmed. I don't know if it's confirmed yet or he hasn't said anything, but I know, like, without a doubt, he'll probably work on another one, but like a proper movie as well. And, you know, for Markiplier's first film to come out in America and here in the UK, I think we're in for like the age of YouTubers making movies, because we've got Jacksepticeye working on one, and we also got Daz Watchers making one for YouTube too. And I think we're going to be stacked with that type of thing. I think the only problem is just Hollywood and, you know, those big movie industries just like not thinking of like a second, not thinking about it. And plus, it could be potential for new people because, like, I mean, who's sick of like seeing like the same like formula or same thing for years and years with directors and different styles for a long time, and do something different? Because doing different things, but also with a good story, is a good thing sometimes, because sometimes storytelling is also important for your movie. And I think that's why I have such a passion for films with a good story. And, you know, we haven't had a great deal of films with good stories lately. Like, I know there's some that are hit and miss, and then there's some good ones. But I think, like, we're in for probably a few good years coming for films made by YouTubers. And I can't wait to see what else this goes, but overall, yeah, I'll give this film like with an A+, ranking myself. And yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe, turn notifications, and stay tuned for a video game review in another 2 to 3 weeks. It's probably going to be one of the bigger, broader reviews. I'll announce it in a few days' time after this video goes live. And yeah, and I'll see you in the next video. Danger out.